I'm really a massage therapist. That's what I started out as. That's what I've been doing for the past 20 years. But also, I've always done energy work. I've always been super sensitive to other people's energies and just sort of sensitive to the environment. So, yeah.
Okay. And how did you learn about Aura Transformation?
So, actually, we had a good friend that was part of our or transformation mediator course that was
Hmm.
there. And we were always been searching sort of to on our own, but then together we were sharing anything that we found and, telling the other person, hey, check this out. This looks interesting. So, she had me check out Sarah's website, Sarah Jennings' website.
Hmm.
Yeah, I checked that out and immediately just felt like, what is she doing? Like, I'm really interested. Let's do this. And she got the information from Sarah, and then we were, able to hook up with Barbara and have Barbara actually come do the aura transformation for us. And then it was really interesting because my partner, I just briefly said something to him about it, and then he just for me saying something about it and feeling excited, he said, okay, well, I think I want to do it too. And so, we ended up having a group of us and we all,
Wow.
did the aura transformation. And then, of course, I felt like I wanted to go further. Like there was such a dramatic shift in sensitivity to other people's energy and the environment. And I didn't feel like I had to protect myself anymore. I didn't feel like when I go into a place and there's a bunch of people or a bunch of different things happening, that I could just go into it. I could just be there. There wasn't the fear and the worry in my mind. And just to not have that be part of my daily sort of every second sort of like weight on my
Yeah.
mind, it
Hmm.
was like that was almost completely just I say almost completely because there is the thoughts that still are there, but the energy was just gone. It would just have been lifted off of me so that now if I go into some, a place where there's a lot of people, or there's a lot of energies, I'm aware of it. I can see it and I can still feel it, but I'm not worried or uh, feel heavy or have some fears that something is going to happen, that I am not in control of somehow. And so that enough, it was amazing enough to be like, no, look, I want to be a mediator because to even take that off of the weight off of someone or something that's sort of consuming their daily life and routine is amazing. I mean, to me, that's already just completely amazing. A little bit of background is like there was a lot of abusive stuff when I was a childhood. And so it started, when I was like 4. So most of my life, I didn't hit those um, learning places, like certain ages, we sort of hit like a learning place and development. It's
Yeah.
sort of like I got stuck being the little girl who's afraid or, who's not able to be seen or not able to have any
Yeah.
strength
Yeah.
to stand for, my feelings or myself. So that with all the work I've done, I did a lot of work before, like, acupuncture, and I did, a lot of self-healing things and a lot of coaching and counseling when I was younger. There was a lot more now it's more coaching. It was more coaching
Yeah.
to be able to just function.
Hmm. Hmm.
So in that functioning, it's like this just took off the fear and like I can be concerned. I can be, that's not quite what I want to say. I can be like within myself.
Yeah.
Like I feel that I have some strength. There's some strength there that wasn't there before. And I could be more now self-empowered. And
Mhm.
it's not about going into the external environment to find the support. or the external environment to somehow make me feel like I'm worthy,
Yeah.
when that really is just a pattern that, that I learned in
Yeah.
childhood and kept that pattern and instilled because of the fear. So just
Yeah.
really the fear, just taking away the fear and the worry was just amazing. So, I mean,
Yeah.
for me, that was the biggest shift. Like
Yeah.
right away, like immediately, right after I was done with the AT, I could feel that immediately dissipated. So,
Yeah.
and other stuff has come up a little bit at a time, other deeper aspects.
Okay. So as an aura mediator, who do you feel attracted to show this based on your own benefits? Who do you feel attracted to like show that this aura transformation helps?
So it feels like for me, it's the ones that have like a real traumatic, like there's real traumatic childhoods, or they're stuck. Like they're stuck in, there seems to be more fear there, or more worry,
Mm-hmm.
or yeah, they really can't, um, like it's hard for them to function, or
Okay.
they're so ingrained this pattern of
The old ways, yeah.
that fear, the pattern of worry, the pattern of, yeah, like almost like a paranoia,
Yeah.
and they're having to grasp at
Yeah.
things and hold on to like this structure in order to feel that they can make it through the day or make it through life.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like. So somebody's had a similar experience to me.
Yeah.
It's like that's the people I've already worked on. And so it's almost like then I'm getting a chance to hold the energy for them. And then it actually helps me relax and be more grounded because now I'm holding the space for somebody else that, I guess the hope is that it's going to break through that. And as they go on and they crystallize, more, and it takes a little time, then yeah, it's amazing if they can just be, here and alive and being grateful and just
Yeah.
living in the best life that they can now instead
Yeah.
of being in the past,
Yeah.
in the trauma.
You mentioned that aura transformation is a one-time energy treatment, so I'm just sharing this for the audience,
Yeah.
whoever's watching, that aura transformation is a one-time energy treatment that it's a natural phenomenon that was found by a Danish woman, Annie Seneff, and it's permanent. So it is pretty much shifting our old time energy, our old time aura to a newer time aura that is coming in with a newer generation that started coming in 1995, around the 1995, 96, coming more purely as indigo energies, indigo auras, what we call indigo auras, and then later on around 2009 crystal auras. So there's more videos and then more information about what's aura transformation, and I'll leave links and more information about it. There's also a PDF if you're interested. We are sharing here more about our experiences with aura transformation, and we're also sharing the benefits and how it's affected in how it's impacted our life towards better and how we think is really useful for other people. When I had the aura transformation, which I also had it with Barbara, and I met Sarah Jennings through a video, and I remember I saw the word and I was like looking it up, and then it started me researching, and I was like, this is it. And even before I met Sarah, I remember I was dealing in my life, I was like in this stuck pattern, and I was doing a lot of like for me my sensitivity enhanced in a very overwhelming way where I was like in engineering it was really easy because I was tuning into my higher self or my higher wisdom, and I was like able to do my exams quicker, and I was able to connect with this wisdom, and I didn't have to study, and I was able to trust myself a lot more. But then when I was around people, I became very sensitive. It was like I was seeing things, and I was seeing how people were talking to me through their faces, and their mind and their face wasn't aligned, and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And like just things became really creepy for me, really trippy, but I was excited. Honestly, I was like, what's this? I was really curious, but eventually it reflected to me that I needed to make changes in my life. It was like reflecting pretty much my wounds, inner child, like my growing up, having low self-esteem and creating this masks and this, this pretending that everything is okay, I'm so cool and stuff. And then I just started moving forward and I felt shame, a lot of shame, and I didn't have the tools. So it came to it that I wanted, because I was activating this and I felt so unique and I felt like all the wisdom was within me. I was tapping into my wisdom. I was like, I don't need books. I need to do this on my own. And I started doing it on my own, but I didn't have the healing tools. I didn't have the holding that I needed. So it got really, really messy and really uncomfortable. And I think I probably fragmented myself more and more and more through that exploration. And I started feeling like if I didn't have something quick that helped me ground myself and really help me, I felt like I was gonna like something bad was gonna happen. So I knew there had to be something, like I would feel intuitively that because I believe in the power of human potential, and I know that there's many things that go beyond us. So I was like, there has to be a tool that can help me, shift this thing that feels so overwhelming. And I didn't really understand none of this that I'm saying. And then when I met Aura Transformation, when I got the Aura Transformation, which I just trusted, I knew that it was for me. When I did it, it felt so peaceful. That overwhelming, messy, loud, boom, 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 just became so grounded. And I remember the silence within the silence for me became permanent. It's still permanent.
There's more of a focus on what you want in your life after the order transformation. It like unfolds, like the path starts to really unfold. And when you're talking about like creation, or there's like a creativity, we all have a creativity, but the collective consciousness is sort of held in this really confined structure. And it's like when you're a sensitive or multi-sensitive person, then it's almost like the structure it's not conducive. It's not supportive at all. And it sort of diminishes what you're doing. So it's to be able to see and not be stuck in the collective consciousness in that aspect opens up like more like creativity, but more of your path and where you're going to go with your own like skills, with your own gifts. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's been a big search for me, is like, what's really my gift and what do I need to be doing with it? But yeah, having been so scattered, or the old time energy feeling like I'm pulled in multiple directions, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't able to sort of hold on to that and be able to be, yeah, like in within myself, to have the focus and then have the clarity. So now I'm getting both also, which is another amazing layer of the aura transformation, is now I can have that. Like to even do the video, to sit down and be able to follow the thought, to be able to have ideas and formulate them and then actually put them into action is just, that's amazing also. Like that's very different for me. And because, have a tendency to be in multiple directions at any given time. And then now I've just given everything out, externally, like I've given it all away. And now where am I? What am I doing?
Yeah.
So that's amazing to have it collected. It's almost like after getting the AT and then doing the mediator course, like now there's this part of me that's collected. And then like you're talking about like having space, it's like I didn't, it was too much space for me. So it's a little different. I felt
Yeah.
like it was too much space. Everything's outward and external. And I felt like now I have space, like, but there's this protective layer. And now inside, I have all the space that I need for myself just in that. I don't have to
Yeah.
go search for space outside. I don't have to give it all away. So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
huge difference. And so
Yeah.
really interesting that it does. We do kind of get brought into the collective consciousness, but then it's like if we stay there or we get so empathetic to it, then there's no more there's none of our self that comes because then we're scattered. And that's part of the old time energy, that we have that's it's scattered and then we're moving past that now. We're moving into a different consciousness. All the kids are coming in into a different consciousness. And so while they're coming into that different consciousness, it's like that those old soul sort of things can fall away. We don't need to be stuck in the suffering like we were stuck in such suffering before. In order to move forward or in order to see something or learn something, there had to be so much suffering. And it's amazing. We can let go of that suffering. Like that suffering doesn't have to be the only thing that causes change or causes, a shift in our life path.
Yeah. We wanted to share the benefits, so maybe I can list some benefits and maybe you can share some that come up to you. So, the grounding of ourselves because of the whole spirit coming in the sense of grounding that we have the sense of presence and focus. I feel like I can focus a lot more, especially when I'm doing what I love. It's like a focus that I can't go anywhere else but that. Um, the clarity as I move forward, the passion, the drive to do what I want, what I love, and it's almost like force of like I have to do it. I don't know why, but I have to do it. I have to do it. Um, and the ethics. I think the ethics for me has been really important for my journey. It's one of the things that I love about the structure that Anis Enough has created with Aura Transformation. I resonate so much with the crystal energy and with all the stuff that Anis Enough has created about it because it's so grounded. It creates grounding as you read it, and it's so structured, it's so simple, and it's also it resonates with my ethics and the ethics that I needed for that level of interest and connection with my spirit that I have, my curiosity with the spirit that I have is to it needs ethics. I needed ethics to be more in my energy than other people. Like, I needed that ethics, and now like being or transform is like education for me to be ethical, and the clarity that is giving me gives me ethics because it's like I'm seeing the whole as like more. It's not like I'm the important one or other people are more important. It's more like we're all working together as a whole. So it's like is ethical, and I feel like I use my energy more ethically, more slowly but surely learning as well to learn to use it more efficient. So energy management for myself. So that's been like my overall my focus and what I learned the most with Aura Transformation. What do you think?
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it would be mostly the boundaries. So like I talked a little bit before about, people that have a lot of trauma, things like that. For my own self, like a real huge benefit is to have the boundary. Like there's boundaries. Like I can say yes, I can say no, the
Mhm.
whole, and I feel protected. That's important too. Like I feel safe and I feel protected. Um, I feel that that's part of the ground, like that's part of some of the grounding, but the most important things were like the safety and the protection and having a boundary, having a voice. So that's something that's major too, like having your own voice. It's not somebody else's voice. It's not the people that you're around, that you've been around before,
Mm-hmm.
that are like influencing it. It's like your voice is now coming out, your true self and what is important to you. And like I said, like your path is now coming to fruition. It starts to open up and it's kind of like you just dive in.
Mm-hmm.
Another huge benefit, yeah, was like if there's something that's deep seated, it can be looked at a lot more clearly. It can be taken apart. I mean, it'll come apart in the time that it needs because some things are really deep and ingrained. And so it does that. It takes things off, just maybe little by little. But if your awareness is now more focused and clear, then you can feel that. You can see that. You can work through things that seem like it's never gonna change. It's never gonna ever move any direction than what it is. And that actually, the order transformation actually has it be this easier transition. And then it feels easy and you find the answers or the answers come. You don't really
Yeah.
find them. You don't have to struggle anymore to find them.
Yeah.
Another great thing about AT, there's not that struggle to find anything. It just unfolds and
Yeah.
blooms like seriously like a flower, and there's these little parts that bloom, and it like I said before, like so that was a real benefit to have it be easier. So you feel safe. Excuse me, you feel safe,
Mm-hmm.
you feel protected, you feel grounded, you feel clear, and then you're able to have your own voice and you're able to have the boundaries, and yeah, you're able to like move forward a lot easier. So,
Yeah.
I mean, those were the biggest things, that I feel
Yeah.
like for me. And
Yeah.
has been some similarities when I talk to people that have been aura transformed,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or even people that I've aura transformed. And the biggest thing was like the falling off of something that was really super heavy, or having that release little by little. And now they feel a lot easier, and they don't have the worry. So
Yeah.
that's just most of the people that I've worked with or talked to. That seems to be a very similar thing, like a
Yeah.
resonancy that's happening with most people I talk to. There's the clarity. I mean,
Uh-huh.
clarity and the boundary, those things just seem to, whatever that is for each person, it just seems to come without all that, without any
Without
suffering
trying.
or
Yeah.
help. It
Yeah.
just comes. It
Yeah.
just there now because we bring that spirit within ourselves, and now it's in us. And
Yeah.
so now we make decisions based
Oh
on
no.
that, or the life comes to us, things come to us, manifestations of things that we can work through.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's so crazy how it all comes from one benefit, which is bringing that spirit in, and then that's what's given us the clarity, the passion, the drive
Yeah.
forward. One of the benefits that I forgot, and I do resonate, everybody that I've or transformed a few people, and they also have those instant things of dealing with life a lot easier. Like just life just moves easier for them. They're like, oh my God, I was able to like deal with like all this problems. Like I'm the boss. And I'm like, that's awesome. It just becomes easier. Yeah, I was gonna say that, well, the healing part, I think like we start doing healing and we start noticing like the right things start showing up, and all of a sudden we're doing ancestral healing, but it's like you start seeing the parts and you're like, oh, and then it becomes very clear. So the healing also like it's revealing to you, and it's happening naturally, organically as we move. So we can be working and doing things that we love, but we're also doing like some healing when it needs to and as it's showing. So it's beautiful in that portion. But I was gonna say something else and I completely forgot. Um, Well, it will come back to me. Uh, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it was one of the benefits. So it's okay. Yeah. So I think that's the benefits for now. I don't know if you have any more other benefits. I'm like really wanting that benefit to come through. No. Oh yeah, I would hear my voice change. My voice has completely changed the way I speak. I feel like it has changed. It feels more like here present. Oh yes, now I remember the benefit.
There
The
you go.
benefit was like when I would see myself in the mirror, I remember I had like so many like complaints and judgments and stuff, and also from cultural beliefs of like Venezuelan Latinas, beauty, the beliefs in beauty is like very harsh and very strict, and like I don't know, it's not, I never resonated with, but I still had it around me, and it was still, but when I saw myself for the first time in the mirror, it was completely loving, and so much that I can't defeat that. Like I that's completely permanent and it stayed. And if it changes, I know it's not me and I'm able to shift it real quick, but it's like permanent, like the way I see myself. And that's what makes me not compare myself so much. It's completely shifted the way I live my life as an individual. So it's completely changed how I see myself completely. So that was like probably one of the best benefits because I think it was it sucked to have that voice and to have
Yes.
that judgment when I saw myself in the mirror. So anyways, but yeah, it was amazing to have this talk with you, Veronica. And I'm
Definitely.
sure the audience has seen and heard. And if you have more questions about Aura Transformation, you want information about Veronica, I'm gonna leave all the information in links below. And Veronica's in Kansas, Missouri, Kansas?
Kansas City, well, Kansas City, Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri, right? It's a different state because it's in the border, right?
Yeah, so Kansas City
Okay.
metro area. So it's like Kansas City metro area includes Kansas City and can't like Kansas and then like Overland Park and like all these different little areas. It's like we have a really good huge mile radius, like 40 miles in a big circle is considered like the metro area. So
Okay. Which is
so that's
considered both
part
states.
on the Missouri side and part on the Kansas side. So it's yeah, it's on both
So
sides.
you're pretty much bo in both sides. It's almost
Yeah,
like
so
it's
but yeah, you just we just it's a 1 mile drive for me, 2 miles to get to the Missouri side. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, now we know where you are. And yeah, it was nice talking to you. So I'm just gonna say bye to everybody. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more videos. And yeah, thank you.
All
Bye.
right, bye.